What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. All right, all right. Look, thank you for tuning in to Curve Uncensored and hope you're having a great day. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, and share. Tell somebody so somebody will know. And make sure you like it or leave a comment because that's how I know if you like the content that I'm bringing you. I am Carolyn, your host, and we got some good stuff we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to keep you long because it is about the weekend, baby. So let's get right into it. Um, first off, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you guys feel like I feel, but I know that everybody's been kind of listening and everybody knows DaBrat and her wife um, are expecting their first child. Now, let me just talk a little bit about that because I've liked DaBrat from all the way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I loved her music. She was one of the first rappers and female rappers. And I just like what she does. So basically, now moving forward to last year, she got married, and her wife seems to be doing pretty good. And they have a show that's called a reality show that's called Brat Loves Judy, and it's a really good show. And now, when I tell you, I binged watched it because at first I was like, "Nah, I don't really want to see that." You know, I love reality TV, so I was like, "Nah, I don't want to see no show with Brat and Judy. Like, what are they gonna talk about, right?" So I was like, "Well, let me just look at it." And when I tell you, it's a really good show. I really like the show. So if you haven't looked at it, look at it. I think it was renewed for another season, and it's really a good show. So basically, moving forward, last year they got married, and it was a beautiful wedding. If you did not see it, go to their Instagram pages, take a look at some of the pictures. I mean, it was nice. Flowers, all that was going on. And when I tell you, um, my whole vibe about Brat forever was that she was always a tomboy, kind of like. But even though she kind of put that persona out there that she's tough and rugged, she's from Chicago, that kind of thing. I kind of followed her along the way, as I said earlier. But she always kind of made me feel like she kind of had like this strong kind of tomboyish kind of image. But if you look at her moving forward, from back then, she was always kind of had like you kind of feel like had a chip on her shoulder, kind of like. But she had this little incident years ago where she got into this fight, I think at a club or something, and she had to go do time for that, and just a whole lot of things that was going on. So I later found out that her and Lisa Ray are sisters. I'm sure everyone knows that as well. And they were really close. Well, as I said, she's married now. And she's married to Jesseca, and they really have a really close relationship. Jessica had children, of course, Brad denied, and now they are getting ready to have their first child. And me, I don't know about you all, but I'm excited for them. Being that Brad has always had this strong persona, I never expected to see her pregnant. And I should have pulled up some of the pictures. I meant to, but she has some really nice shots of her actually displaying her belly, her pregnant stomach. And they actually went on the Sherry Shepherd show, I believe. Brad is really close to Sherry. And they went on her show and they kind of informed the world, hey, we're pregnant. And Brad is actually carrying the baby. Now, that's kind of like a flip, right? Because when, like I said, we think of Brad is always tough, kind of tomboyish. But when you look at her and you don't even have to look deep. You can look surface. She's a really pretty girl or woman. And even though some people they're kind of like play the butch role or the tough role, and they kind of have more of a masculine look, even though she wears big clothes and that kind of thing, she still always had that softness to her face to me now. But she always had a no nonsense personality. Well, if you once you look at the show, if you have not seen their show, go check it out. It's really a good reality show. But it shows the insight of their lives and what they do and how they interact with their families and all of that stuff. You will see that when Brat is around her wife Judy, she is like, I mean, a totally different person. The persona she put out is totally different. The tough girl that she'd always kind of displayed, kind of kind of out down a little bit. Like she doesn't have that on her show. She don't have that same chip. Now she still has that no nonsense personality. We all know that's just kind of what she does, but it's different. And I like it because I feel as if she's living her truth now. I feel as if she's finally able to let the world see her inner self, whereas before we never really got to see that. We always saw the tough, the brat, the rapper, and not gonna take no crap kind of thing. And you still see that, but there's a softness to her. And I think it's good because what's for some other people may not be for me or somebody else, but as long as it's for them and they're not hurting anyone, they're not causing any problems, they're not committing any crimes, they're just living their truth. I think it's cool. I also think it's just a switch because when they first kind of was looking into having a baby, because her wife has her name is Jesseca, but she has I think 3 kids, a daughter and 2 sons, I think, of her own, and a granddaughter. And she already has experienced the pregnancy thing and carrying children and that kind of thing. So the brat wanted her to actually be the one to carry whenever they got pregnant. Well, they kept it from everyone, but I kind of felt like it was going to be brat because her wife was kind of alluding to she needed to experience that as a woman. Well, the brat is the one carrying it. And it's a flip. It's a flip, I'm sure, not just to me, but to a whole lot of other people because you always saw her as tomboyish. I never thought of her as getting pregnant. But I kind of listened to some of her stories along the way, and she had relationships with other men that just did not work out. So it was just kind of like a relationships that she just didn't flaunt around. But the brat was actually in relationships with men. So she's actually not always had the tomboyish kind of vibe going on. But it just didn't work out. And now she's with her wife and she's happy. She's able to actually put out there for everyone how she's feeling, and her true feelings are able to be shown. And I think that's good for anyone. If you're in a relationship, you should be able to be free and be able to express yourself. So I think it's cool. I like it. I'm glad she has the opportunity to experience. I think she's carrying her wife's egg. I think that's kind of how they did it because the brat had problem with fibroids and different things like that she's had taken care of so she can carry the baby to full term. And I'm so excited for her. As I said earlier, I'm interested to see. They should have we know that there's some other things went on because of course they're 2 females, so they can't literally have a baby like in that essence, but she's carrying the baby because she wants to carry a piece of her wife. So it works for them. And so I feel like everyone should be okay with it. Well, now moving forward, her and her sister, Lisa Ray, as I said earlier, have always had a close relationship from what I've always heard. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Lisa Ray recently lost her mom. And they kind of had a tumultuous relationship because I've seen them on another show. But hopefully they kind of, ironed out their issues prior to her mother leaving. But Lisa Ray had made a statement that she found out about the brat's pregnancy along with all of us, right? Like the brat did not come to her and tell her that she was pregnant personally. Now, they had some issues before the wedding that Lisa Ray was upset with the brat about regarding her relationship with her wife and that kind of thing, that she came out and all of that. And I know that the brat is the little sister, right? And I think part of it is that Lisa Ray is her big sister. So she's always played this big sister role. But at this point, I think having her wife now, Jesseca, I think that it kind of gives her the strength to kind of say, hey, this is my life. I want to do things my way. And my wife's happy, I'm happy, y'all should be happy. And I could kind of let people know about my pregnancy however I want to. But Brad's wife said that Lisa Ray didn't tell the whole truth, that she did know about it. So I don't know what that vibe is right there. I do think a little bit of it is probably like a big sister feeling like, hey, I'm losing my little sister a little bit. And I don't think it's necessarily she's losing her. I just think that she's all grown up now and she wants her sister to respect that and respect those decisions. And I think Lisa is kind of struggling with that. So I really hope that they can kind of get things together and, get past that, because they were always really close from what I have seen. And I have always seen like the brat, anytime it came to Lisa Ray, she gonna have her back at any time. I'm sure she still will. But I think Lisa just needs to kind of learn to kind of play her position a little bit better now that she has someone else in her life. And it's okay to share her. I think that's kind of like the problem. Like she doesn't have the full control that she had over DaBrat at one time. So I think she's kind of struggling with that. And I really, really hope that they kind of get past that. You know what I'm saying? Because they can really have a good little thing going instead of her feeling, Lisa feeling isolated. They can actually get, make all this work where everyone is happy. I mean, she's going to have a niece and nephew, so she may as well just kind of let her guard down and roll with the program. But anyway, congratulations, Jesseca and DaBrat. I'm happy for you guys, and I wish y'all a happy baby, successful marriage, and success in your careers. All right, all right, all right. Moving right along, because as I said, we're gonna be quick. Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade. Have y'all been hearing about Dwayne Wade and his daughter Zaya? Now, we all know that Dwayne was married before Gabrielle Union, right? He was married before. Him and his wife had this big, big, big breakup, right? They ended up divorcing, and it was not good. Dwayne Wade actually got custody of the kids, and I believe he has full custody. I don't think he has to consult their mom for anything. I think he kind of has the last word when it comes to everything. Well, the son, I don't know if this is the youngest son, but I know the son is like 15, right? But the son is wanting to be addressed as Zaya. She's going through transgender, so there's no he. Zion in the little girl's, young lady's mind is like not existing. She wants to be a female. She's going through the transgender, tongue tied, the transgender thing, and she wants her family. She at 12 years old, she made a decision. She wanted to talk to her family, and she wanted to let them know she knew what she wanted. She wanted to be addressed as Zaya, not Zion. She wanted them to respect that. Have y'all ever had a little piece of hair that's like getting on your last nerve? That's what I'm feeling like. It's getting on my nerves. But anyway, she wanted them to address her as Zaya. So moving forward, I'm assuming everybody kind of got together from what I've read. Gabrielle, Dwayne, they got with the family, kind of did their research, and they was like, hey, I'm going to respect my 12-year-old daughter's wishes, or son's wishes, to be addressed as a girl. That's what she identifies with. Okay. How do you guys feel about that? I talked to my girlfriend about it, and we was kind of like talking about this whole little vibe. And it's what's happening now. A lot of children are coming out feeling like that they can kind of come to their parents and be open and honest. And I'm all about parents communicating and being open and honest, but that certain things are kind of seems a little more difficult conversations to have. And but she was strong enough to go to her father and her stepmom at the time and say, hey, this is who I identify as. I want to be addressed as Zaya. And I want to dress like a female, and that's what I identify most with. Now, do you guys agree with that? Do you feel 12 years old that you know exactly enough about making a life altering decision like that? Because now moving forward I think the little young lady is 15 now. They want to go through the whole transgender thing. They want to become a girl. That she wants her name legally changed, and she approached her daddy with that, and he is okay with it. He said, if that's what you want to do and that makes you happy, then I'm all for supporting you. And I get it. I get it. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think 12 and 15, I think 12, if those are the feelings that your child is having, they should feel open enough to come and speak with you about it. But how do you feel from a parent's perspective, accepting that and allowing her to demonstrate that outwardly? Because we all know that when she's at home with you, then your child is safe. But going out in the world, the world is mean and crooked, and they don't care about. They're not white glove. They say all kind of ugly things. They make you feel low. They just don't. If they don't like it, they're verbally gonna come out and say it. Sometimes physically, as wrong as it may be, they will do it depending on the person. So how do you feel as a parent supporting your child at 12 with those types of things? Saying, okay, you can dress like a female if you want to. You can be addressed as Zaya. Outward, anywhere you are, it is okay. Do you think that that's a good approach for a parent? No, I personally I think a parent should be able to have that communication with their child. I feel like a child should be able to come to you and talk to you as a parent if they're feeling those type of emotions so they can get it out, because you should be the closest person to your children. So I'm all game for children coming out and being open and honest with their parents and not feeling safe, not feeling like their parents going to shun them away. I think that's the wrong thing to do because it pushes them to people, that they shouldn't be pushed to. So at 12, the child went to Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle, and they researched it, and they, contacted people they knew that was already practicing and dealing with those type of issues, and they were fine with it. So they allowed her to be called, I think it's Zaya, and also to identify as transgender. So now moving forward, she's 15. She's wanting to move to make it permanent. Okay. And Dwayne Wade, being that he's the legal, the father, and he has the right to make all those decisions with regards to her, he said yes. And he filed the motion in court to allow her name to be changed legally. Well, her mother, her birth mother, not her stepmother, but her birth mother is like, no, I'm not happy with that. So she was trying to fight Dwayne Wade. She's like, I had a son. I did not have a girl. And I do not want her to, I feel like she's too young. He's too young in the mom's mindset. My son is Zion. I had Zion. That's who I named my child. And I want to keep his name Zion until he's of legal age to make that change and that decision. More informed decision. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Dwayne Wade is doing too much too soon? The mother, his birth mother, feels that Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, them are doing it for attention and they're doing it for money. I don't know what money, but she feels that they're doing it for money. She feels like her son should be a boy until he reaches the legal age 18 and he can do those things on his own. She does not feel that Dwayne Wade should be allowed to just say, okay, I'm going to let him do it. My daughter wants to be a female transgender. I'm okay with it. So his biological mother is saying, no, she's not happy with that. What do you guys think? Do you think 12 and 15 is too young for a child to make a decision on permanently changing, like altering their sex and also their name permanently? Do you think a child should wait until they're of legal age? What do you think? Let me know. Drop some comments. Because myself, I think it's a little young. I'm not like against it if that's what you want to do once you become legal age. If you want to, go through the gender change, absolutely. I have no problem with any of that. People being and identifying with whoever they want to identify with, as long as they're safe and no one is going to bother them. I think you got to give it a whole lot of thought because children are not always with parents and we're not able to always protect them. So you got to make sure they have a totally informed decision. And we all know, I know when my children were young, they wanted that back then. At that time, of course, they wanted the tattoos, the earrings. My husband was like, no earrings. Back then they were wearing those what they call skinny jeans, and boy, I could not stand the skinny jeans. Okay, they got on my nerves, but they wore really tight jeans. The boys were wearing them, and I was like, and they were sagging. You know what I'm saying? My husband and I was like, no, we're not letting you do that. But he was cool with doing it. That's what they wanted to do because that's what everybody was doing. It was what was going on. But I think when they're going through like the transgender type thing mindset, and they're wanting to change their sex, and they want to identify as the opposite sex, and they want to be in relationships with the opposite sex, when they're young, I think you got to give that a whole lot of thought because, like I said, our goal as parents is to keep our children safe. It's okay to teach them how to love themselves, and if that's something that they're connecting with, then okay, it's okay. But I think you got to give a lot of thought because I think between those ages, those teenage years, it's just very, very tricky. Things that they wanted when they were like 12 and 15 and even 18 by the time they like 21, they like, Mom, I'm so glad y'all ain't let me do that. Dad, I am so glad I listened. So I'm all for doing those things if that's what makes them happy. I'm about do you. That's just my thing. Do you be safe, don't hurt nobody else, and nobody should have no problem with you doing you. That's just how I feel like people should be able to do what they want to do. But when I feel like you're underage, I think you should wait at least until you reach the age of 18 to make sure you thought, you researched it. This is something, because once you make certain changes to your body, they are permanent. You know what I'm saying? Those are like not something you can go, it's not like clothes you can put on, take off. It's not like makeup you can put on and take off. So I think if they're under a certain age, I think you should kind of groom them and give them time to be like, make sure this is what they want to do. Because some people feel like that's what they've always identified with. They just can't help that they were born a girl or a boy. You know what I'm saying? They can't help the way God made them, but they identify to the opposite sex. So that's their truth. And people want to live their truth. So I don't know, only thing I say is that when children are not with us, is we can't protect them. I know as a mother, because I lost my oldest daughter. She was an adult at the time, and I still feel like, man, as a mother, you're always supposed to protect your children. You're always supposed to be that, and you feel like, man, I failed there some way. But we know, especially once they become an adult, that it's only so much that we can do. They have to live their own lives, and it's only so much we can do when they're not with us. And that's all I'm saying when a child does that type of thing. 'Cause I don't really know enough about the dynamics. Like I know they've changed a lot of things about the restroom and different things, and just if they have to go to the same their actual restroom of the sex that they are, or if it's okay if they dress like a girl, they can go into the female's restroom. I don't know enough about that, so I don't want to speak on that. But those kind of things would scare me if I have a son that's dressed like a girl, and they have to still go in the male's restroom. I don't know, but it's just scary. So I think when they're young, they're under a certain age, you have to mentor them to be the best that they can be, and if that's what they identify with, that's just what they identify with. But I do think you have to make sure they know the broad spectrum of the what ifs and what this life has to offer, and teach them safety, because that is like key. That is like so important. At the end of the day, as a parent, that is our role. So I understand the way his birth mother feels, Zaya's birth mother. Zion's birth mother. I agree with the way she feels, and I understand the positioning. But Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, and all them, they kind of saying, "Hey, this is my child, and we're gonna let her live her truth. And she wants to be identified as a female. We're gonna let it ride that way." So it is what it is. So I wish them success. I wish them luck. I wish her safety in all she's doing. But I do understand the mother and how she feels. But at the end of the day, Dwayne Wade made the decision. And I think yesterday the courts granted it. As a matter of fact, I want to say that the court granted it. They allowed him to allow her to move forward with changing her name and her sex. So she'll be able to do that before she reaches the legal age of 18. So she will kind of make the changes she needs to make gender-wise when to identify as a female. So much success and protection and blessings to her and the family, and I wish them well. Moving right along. Moving right along. Tell me what y'all thinking. Tell me what you're thinking. That's the problem. Y'all don't be telling me what y'all thinking. Tell me what you think about that. I think it's a whole lot to be desired when it comes to something like that. That's real tricky. Real tricky. You know what I'm saying? Moving right along. Have y'all seen The Real Housewives of Potomac? Y'all know I like reality TV. I always tell y'all I like reality TV. But haven't been watching it like I normally do, that particular show, but I do watch it still. And Robin Dixon is one of the cast members on the show, and she's really good friend with Giselle Bryant. Giselle was married to Pastor Bryant here. He took over New Birth Church when Eddie Long passed away. So she was married to him at one point. They have children together. I think 3 children, set of twins and another child. But Giselle and Robin are really good friends, right? And Candace is another girl on the show, and she's married to this guy named Chris, right? And Candace is one of the cast members that has a very slick mouth. She has a very slick mouth, but she's smart. She's confident, and I love that about her. But she does have a really slick mouth. Now she will get you together real quick, and they never ready for what she had to say, right? But Robin and Giselle had went on this rampage. Like I think it was the reunion 6. They had the reunion show, and Chris had asked Giselle. Now anybody knows Giselle on the show. She's messy. She's from New Orleans, and she's a pretty woman, but she's real messy, right? And and I don't know if it was a break or if it was the end of the show or whatever, but Chris for some reason wanted to talk to her in private. I don't know what the conversation was about, but he wanted to talk to her in private. So they went in the back in I guess her dressing room, and they talked or whatever. And she said she didn't feel comfortable with that. Now, normally if the reunion, everybody's around. So anybody could have knocked on her door at any time. So I kind of guess she was saying that, she didn't feel comfortable, but that being that he's married to Candace, she's a single woman. She didn't want people to start thinking different things, yada, yada, yada. That's what she was saying. But Giselle is my messy boots. She always trying to kind of leave a little something smoldering, because on these reality TV shows, they got to have a storyline, right? They got to keep you entertained, and they got to, keep you kind of like peeled into something, right? So Giselle was like, she did not like that. Okay, so she told Candace what happened. So she wasn't happy with it. And so what it seemed to me that they was kind of out for Chris. Chris is married, like I said, to Candace, and he don't really bother nobody from what I can say. He kind of chime in. He just one of the husbands kind of go along with what his wife does or whatever and try to support her or whatever. Now, Robin was engaged at the time to her husband. What is her husband's name? I forgot his name. Oh God, it's right on top of my tongue, and I forgot his name. But anyway, she was what is his name? She was engaged to her husband that she's now married to. But at that time, she was engaged to him. Now she had been married to him before, and she actually was going to marry him again, but she was kind of holding off because he had actually cheated on her years ago, right? I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't really know, but he was. They did divorce, and I think with some infidelity there, right? So, honey. So what happened was when Giselle said what she said, it kind of got out. She had the conversation with Candace. Of course, Candace was upset about it, and she didn't like it. And so now everybody was feeling that, okay, here goes Giselle again, trying to start the fire, because she has a way of coming after men that are in relationships, and the people were starting to feel that this is how she keeps her storyline going, attacking relationships and attacking people. She was like one of these women that's kind of like, what should I say, kind of messy, just messy, and attacking this person and attacking this person. So a lot of people were feeling like this is just how she was keeping her show contribution together, right? So Candace was upset. She had some choice words for her. So if you watch the reunion show that they're filming now, they filmed for season 7, you will hear them kind of talking about it. But they felt that she was lying. She was making more out of it than it was really going on. I agree. I feel that Giselle was looking for something to talk about. Her girl Robin, that's her best girlfriend, right? And Robin, she felt that Giselle went a little far. She didn't feel that Chris had done anything wrong, but that's a homegirl. So eventually she kind of backed up a little bit from that position, and she was kind of riding with her girl Giselle. Well, of course, Candace, she didn't like that. Candace is doing her own thing, I must add. She's a singer. She just got, I think, her MBA or something like that. So she's educated. She's kind of like I would call her a little trust fund girl, because her mom is there for her. She takes care of her. Her mom does really well. So I think it was a little jealousy there, a little bit. But moving forward, we later found out that Robin, they were all over Chris, which is Candace's husband, and that little situation about going in this room at the reunion with Giselle. But guess what? Andy Cohen's got wind of it, and it later came out that Robin's husband was messing with this girl during COVID, allegedly, allegedly, and she was keeping it under wraps. So while they was digging at Chris, which is Candace's husband, they was keeping their stuff quiet, right? So when Andy found out about it, Andy was upset. You know why Andy was upset? Andy Cohen is the person that's helped produce the Bravo show, Real Housewives of Potomac. So he was upset because he felt as if Robin was all over Chris and Giselle was over Chris. But guess what? Robin had been contacted by the lady, or the lady had put it out there some sort of way that her and Robin's fiance at the time, now husband, had cheated over COVID. They cheated during the COVID time frame. And it's reality TV, right? So Bravo want that news on their show. But Robin did not talk about it on Bravo Real Housewives of Potomac. You know where she talked about it at? On their podcast. They have a podcast called Reasonably Shady or something like that. Robin is, I guess, the reasonable one, and Giselle is the shady one, which fits their personalities because really, Giselle is shady, as I said earlier. But Andy was upset about it. And the reason Andy was upset about it, he was like, okay, they went on Patreon or somewhere and disclosed that information about her husband and that lady coming forward with receipts about him cheating on or having that little thing, fling-a-lang. And Robin never let reality TV on Bravo know about it. So he was upset. He was mad at her because they feel like, okay, you want to get paid in two places for the story, but you didn't bring it to Bravo. And why is that? So right now, it's kind of rumored that they may be let go. Now, I personally don't think they're not going to let her go because she is like one of the people. Now, she's not super interesting. Robin not super interesting. She's just a friend of Giselle. Giselle, I can see kind of them keeping her around because Giselle kind of brings some gossip and she kind of, but Robin just kind of, she just there a little bit. She has a little bit, she kind of flickers in and out. So I can see him being upset and maybe getting rid of Robin, but they know they get rid of Robin, then Giselle gonna go because they got each other's back. So I don't see them getting rid of them right now, not with having a good replacement for the two of them. But anyway, it's just a whole lot of mess going on the show. So right now, the word is out that they may be replacing some of the staff on that show. So I don't know. We're gonna see. Honey, we will see what happens on that show. But it's a whole bunch of dirt going on. I feel like they were unfair to Chris. I really, really do. I really feel like they were unfair because I think that Giselle made a little bit more of that than it really, really was. And I just think she was doing her little messy stuff like always. So we're gonna have to stay tuned and see what happens on Potomac. Potomac is a good show. I like it. It was getting a little flat one time. It was with the little Grand, what's her name? She goes by Karen goes by Grand Dame. It was getting a little flat. It was getting a little flat with Ashley and her husband on them. But now I think they kind of trying to spice it up. So we just got to keep our eyes out on it. But I do think Giselle is a little bit too messy, and I think she tries to come for people's relationships a little bit too much. And I think she really need to pull back because fans are starting to see that and they don't like it. And I don't either because I think it's just a little too much. She need to chill with that. She need to find something else to talk about if she wants to stay relevant on the show. But stop going for people's relationships. She did that multiple times before, and I just don't think it's cool. I don't think it's cool. It's not fair to put that type of narrative out there because people do still have to live outside of the TV. You know what I'm saying? They gotta live outside of TV. And I think she be doing too much. So moving right along. Last thing I want to talk about. Kim Zolciak and her husband Kroy. Child, honey. Now, they've been talking a while about Kim Zolciak. Y'all remember Kim Zolciak? She first hit the scene on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Way back when. Then she got her own little show called Tardy for the Party. She tried to, wait a minute, yeah, I think it was Don't Be Tardy for the Party, something like that. I didn't really watch that show. But her and her little family broke off. They left Real Housewives of Atlanta. She got a little too, sophisticated, and they gave her own show. and it lasts for several seasons, right? But it eventually went off the air, which, I'm surprised, they didn't keep it going a little longer, but it did eventually go off the air. And this is my thing. She was always the kind of flashy, kind of in your face, like I'm all that, kind of personality on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Her and Nene always used to have a little issue. Now, early on in the show, they were like real cool, but they started having button heads a lot. And I think it was a lot of jealousies, a lot of issues, da da da. So anyway, she got her own show. Now, Kim, before she married Kroy was a football player for the Atlanta Falcons at one time, right? And they were introduced by Sheree at this dance event a long time ago. So they end up connecting. And Kim is a little older than Kroy. So anyway, long story short, they got married. They had some children. I think he adopted her children too, if I'm not mistaken. But her name, she had this girl that used to work with her. They called her Sweetie. Sweetie was a black girl. And of course, Kim and her family are Caucasian. Well, I think that Sweetie had been with Kim for like a long time, helping her raise her kids. She was like an assistant to her. I mean, she was really like a supportive fact. But when Kroy came in the picture, it's almost like Sweetie went to the side. She was picking out things that Sweetie didn't do. She says, it just didn't work with Sweetie anymore. So she ended up letting Sweetie go, or Sweetie ended up leaving, whatever it was. Her and Sweetie was no longer together, okay, as her assistant, because she was like her assistant, babysitter. She did a lot for her from what I can see. But Sweetie went on by her business, and Kim went on with her husband, her children, and her family life, and they did their own little show, and it lasted a few years, and it went off the air. Well, now that show going off of the air, right? I guess she ain't making no more money off of that song. Her and Candy Burrs had a little problem. Remember, Candy made a song for her. Don't be tardy for the party. That one there, yeah, that one. I guess she ain't making no more money off of that. She's not touring. She's not doing anything. Because one time, Kim was really doing the thing on thing. She was making a lot of money. So a lot of money you make, a lot of money you spend, right? She had this mansion she purchased in Atlanta for like 800 and something thousand. I ain't gonna quote the exact dollar, like 800 and something $1,000. And it's in Atlanta. And so she was living in her house. It was a very, very nice house. Google it, honey. I should have put the pictures up, but Google it. But now moving forward, the show is ended. And it was rumored last week, honey, all the way up until a few days ago, that the house was in foreclosure. It was actually supposed to go on the steps in Fulton County. I believe it was March the 7th, which is like in a week or so. Well, in December, she was saying that was a lie, that her house was not going on the block foreclosed. They had gotten a loan against the house, right? They got a loan. And when they got that loan, honey, wasn't making them payments. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly, child, because you know how these people be doing. So allegedly she wasn't making, but it's really not allegedly, because they were saying it was all up in the papers and the records and stuff. So, but allegedly, and her house was going in foreclosure, and she was about to lose it. And I think for $200-something thousand, whoever would have got that house was gonna make out, right? But I read today that now it's not available. It's off the block. They're not going to foreclose on it. Now, I don't know what agreement she's made with the company or who's helped her and given her money. But what I'm telling you is, a lot of people probably feel like, you know what? You don't want to see nobody lose their home. I know I don't. Even her, as like bougie as she was, okay, or it still is. Because you can look at her. If you look at pictures, she also had a wig line. Too. But if you look at pictures like when she first came on the scene, that wig had got better, child. She done got like the lips and the all the cosmetic procedures and all that stuff, right? And nothing wrong with it. If it makes you happy, cool. But money ain't gonna keep coming. My husband always say, if you keep taking out and you ain't putting nothing back, something gonna go short. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's what happened. And if you look at some old pictures of Kim and you kind of look at her personality, you will see back in the day when Kim first hit the scene, Kim was her parents were always around. Her mom and father were always around. And it had gotten to the point where she put her mom out of an event she felt that her mother was not, you know, playing by the rules. It was just terrible. It's like things were just kind of like hitting the fence with her. I felt like she wasn't the same person. She felt like she was doing well and almost like she didn't need anybody. That's kind of like how I feel. When one of my viewers saying Kim treated Sweetie wrong. And as soon as Corey came in the picture, she got rid of the girl, Sweetie. I feel that way too, Sunshine. I do too. And then she also says Kim might try to come back to Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think she's going to try to come back to Real Housewives of Atlanta because personally, she don't have a. Let me digress a minute. She don't have enough of a storyline to keep it going on her own. Because I mean, how much you gonna be talking and walking around drinking out a cup and I mean with your kids? I mean, how much people gonna look at you know with reality TV? I love reality TV. Sunshine. I don't know how much you like it, girlfriend, but I like it. And you gotta be able to open up and let people into your life, and you gotta keep it going. So when you don't have enough material and you don't have enough interest, your show going off the air. So she may come back to Real Housewives of Atlanta because a lot of the older cast have come back to reality TV. She may come back or she may land up on one of those other shows, but I do think she's going to come back to reality TV because I think before they said she was some sort of nurse. I don't know what type of nurse she was, but she was a nurse at some level. And she even brought her certificate one time to the show, one of the shows a long time ago, to prove that she was a nurse when she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So she may come back, go back and do some nursing things. I think she probably don't want to do that no more though. What you think? But anyway, I think she may end up back on reality TV at some point. I don't know how much or how long or what you know, how long she'll stay or what she's gonna do, but I do think there's some financial issues going on. I hope she can get it together because they have recovered her home. So they're not, from what I'm hearing, if they blowing the paper up to let us know her house is not in foreclosure. It is not in foreclosure. It is not in foreclosure. I'm like, they trying to clear it up. But the point still remains, even though it's not in foreclosure now, it was in foreclosure. So people gonna still talk about it because of her personality. You know what I mean? She was just so in your face, matter of fact. I'm this and that, and that kind of stuff. And the way she treated her parents, I just thought was wrong. The way she treated Sweetie, I thought was wrong. So you know what? Some people might feel like you get the way you dish people, you get it back. You get it back. You get it back. So I don't know, but what I will tell you, I hope they can get out this situation because I don't know what type of agreement they made with the bank, but I know you don't have them people change. They come and pick it up. And that's not for just her. That's for me, for her, for anybody. So, you know, I hope they can work it out and they can keep their home because you don't wish that on nobody. But I really think she needs to reassess herself because her little attitude was stank. Okay. It was terrible. And she was not nice to a lot of people from what I could see. That's just my opinion. And I'm sticking with it. And it's based on what I have seen. So that's how I feel. Okay. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. That is all I have for you guys. I just want to kind of come and say what's up. Drop a little tea in your cup and say hello and all that good stuff. So make sure you share the video, you like and subscribe, tell people about me because that is how I stay on and coming to you. I will see you guys next week. Have an awesome, awesome Saturday and I will talk to you later. Peace